Well, let's start with the Kumulipo. And this part will help you through the article, as well as some of the major points that you guys are going to need to know as far as the philosophy of the Kumulipo itself. The Kumulipo, let's just start, in itself is a chant, okay? And when we're talking about cosmology, what we're talking about are creations and origins. Okay, so we talked about origins in terms of migration, right? We talked about the questions, well, where did Polynesians come from? Where did Pacific Islanders come from? Well, we talked about settlement routes. We talked about migration, language changes. We talked about Lapita pottery, things like that. However, be that as it may, we also want to talk and look at where Pacific Islanders say that they came from. Okay, because when we're talking about migration routes and settlement, this is sort of based off of Western scholarship, right? It's Western sciences, the science of linguistics, anthropology, those types of things. And those place certain factors, dates, numbers, and things on settlement patterns and dates in answering the question, again, where did Pacific Islanders come from? Well, we also want to, again, ask Pacific Islanders where they came from. All right, and to that end, we sort of have been looking at different creation mythologies. Okay, and now particular to Hawaii, we have creation mythology, which is called the Kumulipo. Okay, and this Kumulipo has several facets and factors that make it very important, a centerpiece, if you will, for the Hawaiian culture. Okay, well, the Kumulipo is over 2,000 lines long. Okay, it's a chant or oli, and again, over 2,000 lines long, and it takes you through certain sections. Okay, each section is called a time period, or in Hawaiian we say va. Okay, and as with everything Hawaiian that we're going to be discussing and have discussed, you notice that the Hawaiian culture is very efficient in its presentation. It's very sort of obsessed with organization and categorization. So all of our time periods in the Kumulipo, all of these 2,000 lines or so, are neatly organized into different strata, or as we say, va, or time periods. Okay, so there are 16 total time periods, 8 of which occur in what we call po, or darkness, and the last 8 which occur in what we call ao, okay, or light. So 16 total, 8 po, 8 ao. Okay, and again, you guys should be following along with your lecture notes as we talk through this. Okay, so again, va in general means time, an era, session, age, like we say in Hawaiian, va kamali'i, the time, small kid time, as it were. Po talks about darkness, night, obscurity. Okay, now it's not just literal night, as in turn off the lights or the sun goes down and it's nighttime. Okay, it talks about that other world, that spiritual world as well, right? The darkness. And when you guys watched the film The Navigators, I hope you picked up on the references in there. Okay, because when Mao Piailug, the master navigator from Sarawal, was talking about navigation, right? He said there were 2 types of people, 2 types of navigators. One was a type of navigator or person that didn't know magic, and the other was the person that knew magic. And those types of people who did not know magic as navigators, kind of, for all intents and purposes, just understand the mechanics of navigation, right? Which is not the complete package. Okay, those that are advanced or master navigators went through a ceremony that the Sarawalese or Mao called po. Okay, now that word has shared meanings between the Hawaiian word po, one of which is that idea of magic or connection to your ancestors, or that spiritual realm. So it's not just learning the mechanics of navigating, which house to go, which direction is this way, star rises over here or over there, but that connection to the spiritual realm that goes beyond. Okay, and that idea of po is expressed here in the Kumulipo. Okay, which we're gonna find out very soon after you read the article. Okay, and this Kumulipo, also added on the list of other things, is termed a cosmogonic genealogy. Okay, now this is a term that you're going to have to know. Okay, so the Kumulipo, this chant, okay, over 2,000 lines long, all this time periods and stuff, is not just a story or an account of creation, but as we're going to find out, it's also a genealogy, okay, or mo'oku au hau, as we say in Hawaiian. But it's a specific type of genealogy. It's not just any type of genealogy. It's a very special type of genealogy, which in the article is termed a cosmogonic genealogy, okay? And what a cosmogonic genealogy is, it's a genealogy of creation, okay? A creation genealogy. A genealogy, in effect, which connects back to the cosmos. Cosmogonic, right? So the word cosmos is in there. Back to the cosmos, or the beginning of the universe, beginning of time itself. Okay, so very, very important in that we see the fusion here of mo'olelo and mo'oku au hau. Okay, I say that again. Mo'olelo, or story, or account, and genealogy. Okay, very, very important factor here, where you're going to have the fusion of these two ideas. In fact, these two ideas are inseparable when we talk about Hawaiian stories or accounts, whether it be an account of an ali'i, an account of creation, where any of these things are going to entail two halves. One is the story itself, the other is a genealogy. Okay, so this cosmogonic genealogy is one aspect. Okay, now what you're going to see in the Kumulipo as you read through it, okay, is that it parallels many different accounts of creation, in that it starts off talking about creation. Okay, it answers again the question, where did Hawaiians come from, right? Hawaiians came from nature, from Akua, from the universe. Okay, and when you read the beginning of this Kumulipo, it starts Okeawi kahuli vela kahonua, which is at the time when the earth was hot and turning. Okay, and if you look closely at the Hawaiian words, if you understand the language, you can see the intensity going on and happening here. And it starts with the earth and sky and turning, this mass and void that turns, and between earth and sky, this intense heat, very, very intense heat that starts forming and turning. And out of that heat, you find the creation of oceans. And with the waters that spread out, you find slowly, as the chant goes on, the creation of small beings, small items, and these creatures coming together to form larger and more complex points of life, and them getting together, forming eventually land masses. These land masses rising up out of the water. Then you find the introduction